detail, Ted Cruz isn't a politician playing political games. He's a constitutional lawyer who argued before the Supreme Court 9 times. When Omar called him a Canadian con artist and questioned his loyalty to America, Cruz smiled. Not a friendly smile. The smile of a prosecutor who just got the perfect opening. "Thank you for questioning my loyalty, Congresswoman. Now, let me question yours." He opened a folder containing bank records. "While you served on the Foreign Affairs Committee, you received $250,000 from foreign government-funded organizations, organizations based in Qatar, organizations tied to Turkey, organizations with connections to the Muslim Brotherhood. You voted to support their interests. You failed to disclose the payments for 3 years, and you never registered as a foreign agent as required by federal law. So when you talk about loyalty, Congresswoman, whose interests were you serving Minnesota's or the foreign entities paying you?" The room erupted. Smash that subscribe button, because you're about to watch the most devastating legal cross-examination in congressional history. This Supreme Court advocate, the man who clerked for Chief Justice Rehnquist and won the U.S. National Debating Championship, just produced documentary evidence that could send a sitting congresswoman to federal prison. Ted Cruz has been preparing for this moment for months. He's investigated Omar's financial disclosures, her amended tax returns, her voting record. He's identified a pattern that looks exactly like the foreign influence operation that sent Senator Bob Menendez to prison. You see, Omar thought her squad allies would protect her. She thought attacking Cruz's citizenship would make her the victim. She thought progressive activism could overcome evidence. She was catastrophically wrong. When you attack a constitutional lawyer who argued before the Supreme Court, someone who knows every federal statute, every ethics rule, every requirement of the Foreign Agents Registration Act, you better have clean hands. Omar's hands. Covered in foreign money she failed to disclose for 3 years. This is bigger than one congresswoman's corruption. This is the day America saw what happens when foreign governments successfully compromise a member of Congress and a Supreme Court advocate exposes it with documents. This is the day an activist met a prosecutor who had the receipts. Let's go. The Senate Judiciary Committee hearing room had an unusual tension. It wasn't every day a House member was called to testify before a Senate committee. But these weren't normal times. 6 months after Senator Bob Menendez was convicted of accepting gold bars and cash from foreign governments, the Senate Judiciary Committee was investigating foreign influence operations targeting Congress. And Representative Ilhan Omar had been subpoenaed, not because she was accused of crimes yet, but because her removal from the House Foreign Affairs Committee and her controversial foreign policy positions made her relevant to the inquiry. Omar didn't want to be there. She'd spent 2 weeks on social media attacking the hearing as Islamophobic and xenophobic. Her squad allies rallied to her defense, but the subpoena was valid. She had to appear. Senator Ted Cruz sat at the committee dais reviewing documents. As a senior Republican member, he'd been investigating patterns of foreign influence for months. And Omar's financial disclosures had caught his attention. Amended tax returns filed quietly. Late disclosure forms. Consulting income from entities with suspicious backgrounds. Votes that consistently aligned with specific foreign interests. Cruz wasn't sure yet if it was corruption or just incompetence, but he'd prepared for both. Because Ted Cruz didn't do anything halfway. When he argued before the Supreme Court, he prepared for months. When he debated, he studied every angle. And when he conducted cross-examination, he went for the kill. If Omar wanted to make this personal, he was ready. Ilhan Omar walked into the Senate hearing room like she was walking into battle. Black headscarf, fierce expression, squad members flanking her as a show of solidarity. Progressive activists packed the gallery wearing "We Stand with Ilhan" shirts. She'd been preparing for this for weeks, not by reviewing her financial records or consulting with ethics lawyers, by crafting the perfect social media narrative. Republican witch hunt. Islamophobic attack.
It looks like this case isn't going to end soon. A lot of things are being unraveled. Kash Patel, the director of FBI, just released a statement that they are going to fast track the case, like they're really, really fast tracking the case because they haven't gotten any time to waste. I sincerely cannot wait to know what the outcome is going to be because this has taken too long. And as you all know, a country like the US, they don't just jump into conclusions. They need to get their facts right before they can prosecute anyone. So we're all here waiting to see what this whole thing, what the US government is going to, the outcome of, the whole investigation and all of that. Anyways, guys, welcome to my space. If you like this great content, please subscribe, like, and share. And I want to give credit to all the original contents I've used on my platform today. Thank you, guys. Stick around and just watch the videos I've compiled for you guys today.
Less than 24 hours after Omar refused to cooperate with the FBI's financial investigation, Kash Patel moved in hard, no negotiations, no delays. First, Patel ordered an interagency audit, pulling key financial records straight to the federal level. That single move cut off every back channel, erased any room to stall. The message was unmistakable. This was no longer negotiable. Second, Patel publicly called in the Congressional Oversight Committee, pushing for closed-door hearings. What had been a quiet financial dispute was instantly dragged onto the national political stage. Then came the warning. Patel made it clear refusing to cooperate could trigger far more serious consequences. No political shield, no party protection. Federal law applies to everyone. Observers called it a direct confrontation. Omar's team reportedly hoped delay and public backlash will ease the pressure. Instead, Patel's hard line response did the opposite. The pressure multiplied, the spotlight intensified. And once federal power starts moving this fast, control rarely stays in one place. This wasn't de-escalation. It was a line being drawn.
You are not in order. You're out of order. Goodbye. You're done.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, it's my 5 minutes.
Guys, Ms. May, so
are we good here? Mr. Chairman, thank you. As I listen to the witnesses answer questions today, I'm struck by the truly breathtaking amount of fraud, the scope and scale perpetrated against the American people by Somalians in Minnesota, screeching Democrats, like you just heard, at our witnesses. Democrats on this committee don't want to talk about Minnesota fraud because Minnesota fraud is Democrat fraud. You're going to make a great host on MSNBC. You're going to be great. And this is a cover-up. I mean, the very definition of cover-up. And so while we're still trying to understand the scale of the fraud, it appears that the amount of fraud we are talking about could exceed the size of GDP in Somalia, the size of its economy is what we're talking about. So let that sink in, the amount of fraud we're talking about. My first question is this, Mr. Balyu, this afternoon. Should Somalians in Minnesota be required to speak English, their citizens? Yes or no? Should they be required to speak English if they're American citizens?
I think that question is really inappropriate.
Should they? It's not inappropriate. This is the United States of America. My next question is, should Somalians who committed fraud be denaturalized and deported, Mr. Balyu?
Again,
yes
I'm not sure that's an appropriate question because the majority of Somali Minnesotans are citizens. So if you commit fraud in this
country and you are here from Somalia, you don't believe they should be denaturalized and deported? Again, how much fraud would it take for you to want to denaturalize and deport someone who committed fraud in this country? How much?
Again,
$1 billion, 9 billion, 19 billion? What would it take for you?
Most Somali Minnesotans are citizens.
Right. And the ones that committed fraud, the question was, if you understand English, should be those who committed fraud, should they be denaturalized and deported? The Somalians who are here, the ones that can't speak English.
Yeah. So under U.S. law.
Okay. My next question for you
can I please finish the question?
No, you can't because you're not answering the question. My next question is, this is yes or no. If you marry your brother and you commit immigration fraud, should you be denaturalized and deported? If you commit immigration fraud, yes or no?
Again, that question seems really inappropriate. And if I can get back to your question.
Well, you can't answer my question, so that's probably more inappropriate. Can you name one significant contribution to Minnesota from a Somali immigrant who can't speak English?
Absolutely, yes. But again, this is...
You didn't name one. All right, so my next questions are going to be for the Honorable Ms. Robbins. Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here today. I heard some discussion earlier about al-Shabaab. And the discovery that you believe some of this money that was defrauded the U.S. government went to al-Shabaab. Is that correct? Did I hear that right?
Yes, it's been proven.
How much money are we talking about?
You know, we don't have an amount. So there's been specific cases where it's been charged where we have an amount, but then of the millions that go to Somali over the years in remittances, a portion of that we understand is taken as sort of a tax or corruption by al-Shabaab when it enters the country.
Can you explain to us who al-Shabaab is?
It's a terrorist organization in Somalia.
And they're affiliated with al-Qaeda, is that right?
My understanding is they are.
I am on the DNI website where it tells me that since 2014, al-Shabaab has killed more U.S. citizens than any other al-Qaeda affiliate. And as of 2025, al-Shabaab, this group is al-Qaeda's wealthiest component. Can you believe that?
Yes.
And that American tax dollars through Minnesota, through Governor Tim Walz, who shamefully had to resign from his reelection the other day. Thank you to the young YouTuber Nick Shirley. This is the kind of thing that was happening in Minnesota. So I praise the Republicans who are here today from the Minnesota State Legislature exposing this fraud. And then, Ms. Robbins, when do you think Tim Walz became aware of the fraud?
I think he's been aware of it since the beginning. This was a huge issue in our state in the year he ran for governor, and the OLA reports came out, first identifying the child care fraud in March and April of 2019 when he was in the first months of his term.
Was Keith Ellison in on it too, knowledgeable, the Catholic turned Muslim guy in Minnesota?
Yes, they were all newly in office, and this was very public knowledge in Minnesota.
What role do you think Tim Walz and Keith Ellison played, his administration, in delaying investigations into the fraud?
So I've outlined several things where they stopped our ability to strengthen internal controls, and they also shut down the criminal investigations by the OIG in DHS.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back. I do have two articles, Mr. Chairman, that I would like to ask unanimous consent. This one on foxnews.com, Minnesota fraud probe will expand to other states. And then on house.gov, legislators blast DHS for revelations it had contracts with feeding our future fraudsters.
Why couldn't he answer the simple questions? Those who committed fraud, should they be denaturalized and deported? It's either a yes or no. And my brother couldn't answer that question. If you marry your brother and commit immigration fraud, should you be denaturalized and deported? He can't answer that question. Can you name any Somalian who has contributed to anything significant in Minnesota? And again, he couldn't answer. They have been investigating and tracing where, the monies are going to. And it's been said that some of the monies have been linked to the al-Shabaab terrorist group in Somalia. Now, there are facts to back that up. And if all of these allegations are proven to be true, then some asses are going to be kicked, man. Some people are going to be in deep shit. And sincerely, I can't wait to see how all of this unfolds, because it's just not fair on the Americans. It's not fair on the citizens. It's the masses that always suffer at the end of the day. All of those, people up there, they do all they want to do. And at the end of the day, it's actually the masses, the taxpayers. It's their monies. They work their asses out to have a life, to fend, to take care of their daily needs. They pay their taxes, At the end of the day, those taxes that are meant for, the education sector, the roads, the infrastructure, the medical, instead of those, these monies are carted away to foreign lands. Enriching personal pockets. Come on now. Anyways, guys, we hope that we'll see the end of this soon. And I'm sure a lot of us are waiting to know what's the government is gonna say to us at the end of the day. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for coming with me on my channel today, and I want to give credit to all the original content I have used on my channel today. Thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for, guys? Don't you enjoy this sweet content I'm bringing? Thank you so much, my friends. Thank you, and have an amazing day. Cheers.